Kusi mentioned that grants are starting to look more like debt, right? Why? Well, when, in the original paradigm, right, where you start, right, grants are typically used by foundations and given to charities, right? Expectation is, here's $100, go do something, brilliant and charitable with it. And then next year, once you've done that, come and let me know what you've done. And we'll talk about giving you another $100, right? That cycle kind of goes back and forth, right? Where the capital is deployed into an organization that is very different from a business, right? So now all of a sudden you're saying, all right, well, we want to do a grant style, we want to build this grant style relationship with an impact enterprise, an organization that has an engine behind it and is generating revenue, or we expect that maybe one day, if things go right, it can, right? And therefore, the idea of taking something that is debt and making it act a little bit more, a grant and make it act a little bit more like debt makes sense all of a sudden, because now it's like, all right, great, here's the $100. And when you get to the point where the engine is starting to run and you're generating revenue on your own, there's no need for the continuation of the grant funding. So there might be an opportunity to repay that. And now that grant capital can be deployed into other productive purposes, right? So it has the ability to have that regenerative effect to it, right? There's also the inverse of it, right? There's debt that can look like a grant, kind of a forgivable loan. And it's, kind of like the cousin of what we just described, right? But a couple of other examples, right? So equity looking like debt, right? So an equity investment, a risk capital investment, where the investor is building a relationship with the entrepreneur, saying, hey, listen, we know that you have this capital, you need to build the enterprise or build out a new operation in another jurisdiction, or kind of whatever the good uses for risk capital look like, and we know that there isn't a robust IPO market in this in this space or in this industry. There may not be strategic buyers out there, and to Kusi's point, which I want to just echo, taking a problem-centric view towards creating these solutions and really understanding the needs of, in this case, the ones who are really generating the impact on the ground, i.e. the entrepreneur, the impact entrepreneurs, saying, how can we solve your challenge by also addressing my needs as the investor? You can look at a scenario that says, all right, well, I want to give you risk capital, but I do have a need in terms of getting paid back at some point in time. It's not a grant. I can't just deploy the capital forever. Okay, so let's bring in some debt-like principles. Once that economic bet that we're making together starts to pay off, the expectation is that there may be some revenues that are coming back into the business, and a portion of those revenues can go towards retiring that equity investment. So now we have a situation in which you can make an equity investment, deploy risk capital into an enterprise. The entrepreneurs can use that capital just as they would a venture capital investment, but they don't have to be limited to a very, very restrictive set of circumstances on the back end, i.e. selling their business in order to get the investor paid back.